I'm Elena Pasoli. I am member of the board of IBBY Italia, and I am member of the executive committee of IBBY. And I'm very pleased. It's really a great pleasure for me to introduce the award ceremony of the IBBY-Asahi Reading Award. The award was created in 1986 to commemorate the 20th IBBY Congress in Tokyo. A big thank you to Asahi Shimbun. That's one of the most prestigious Japanese newspapers, sponsor of the award. Why a big thank you, a bigger thank you than the regular thank you to a sponsor? Because with this award, actually, Asahi Shimbun bring to the international forefront, to the international stage, outstanding reading promotion experiences that can be of great inspirations for professionals from all over the world, and also projects that can be replicated in different countries. There's a special emotion that I feel introducing this award, because it was my great honor and my good fortune to be part of the jury that chose the winner. And I can tell you that it was a very challenging and at the same time a very exciting work. The projects we examined brought us into contact with very difficult situations, sometimes shocking, and extraordinary working groups and personalities. Projects that touched us deeply and made the task of choosing difficult, because all of them were great projects, and all of them had a spark that struck us deep inside. And I really don't know how we could have made the job if we hadn't had the wonderful guidance of such a great professional and outstanding woman as the jury president, Junko Yokota. Junko is a professor emerita at the National Louis University, where she was the founding director of the Center for Teaching Through Children's Books, author of an impressive number of book chapters and professional articles, past president of US BBY and of the Bookbird Inc. board for a number of years. Junko served 3 terms on the IBBY Hans Christian Andersen jury and was elected as the IBBY Andersen jury president for the 2020 and 2022 awards. Dear friends, please welcome Junko Yokota.
Good afternoon, IBBY family and friends. I'm Junko Yokota, a little humbled by the introduction I just got, but I'm chair of the IBBY I Read Outstanding Reading Promoter Award and the IBBY-Asahi Reading Promotion Award. I was joined in the award subcommittee by executive committee members Elena Pasoli, who you just met, Ingrid Kallström, who is in the audience here, Luis Zendrera, and Tina Bilban. We met following the executive committee meeting in Madrid in September of 2023, and we carefully considered all of the notable contributions. In this time, when there's so much heartbreak in our world caused by wars and other disasters, it was heartwarming to read of all the amazing work being done on behalf of children and books all throughout our communities. I first want to acknowledge the generosity of our sponsors, Asahi Shimbun, the leading newspaper in Japan. Mr. Sugiyama and Mr. Ito, please accept our most sincere appreciation for your company's generosity that makes this award possible. This charitable act of supporting the award is sincere, selfless generosity without expectation of return. They do not expect our community to all buy Japanese newspapers or anything, and yet they contribute to helping award the people whose work we do applaud very much. The IBBY community and the world of literacy and literature for children appreciate this opportunity to highlight the good work being done and to support them monetarily. I'd like to next introduce Mr. Tadashi Sugiyama from Asahi Shimbun.
Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tadashi Sugiyama, Editor-in-Chief for Europe at the Asahi Shimbun. It is a great honor to be here on behalf of the Asahi Shimbun to present IBBY-Asahi Reading Promotion Award 2024. Firstly, I would like to congratulate this year's winner from the bottom of my heart, ATD Fourth Ward Street Libraries. Félicitations. We would like to pay tribute to the outstanding effort all those involved in this initiative. Thank you. And we are so grateful to the members of the jury and the IBBY Executive Committee for their dedication in making the evaluation and the decision this year. Thank you indeed. As you know, reading is an effective means of understanding others and oneself. Reading books is crucially important for children to develop their imagination and creativity. I have 3 children, aged from 7 to 13 years old. They read a lot. In preparation for this speech, I asked them, why do you like reading? I wanted some content from them that I could use here today, but they just said, because I like it. Hey, wait a moment, I thought. How simple and what a terrible answer. But I tried to imagine for myself what the reason that they like reading. Someone opened the door for them to books. In our case, that was my wife. Since the children were born, she read to them on her lap and took them to libraries. Libraries and bookstores became enjoyable places in their childhood. I believe it's rare that children develop the habit of reading and discover the joy of books on their own. It is important that there are granted opportunities and encouragement. There are so many children in this world for which these opportunities are limited due to their social and familial circumstances. This is why I think ATD Fourth Ward Street Libraries are important and impressive. They have 66 street libraries across France with 500 trained volunteers. They open the door to the books for the children in poor communities. They grant the knowledge and self-confidence that are essential for breaking the cycle of poverty. The volunteers encourage children to express themselves through interaction with books and provide creative activities. I was impressed to learn of the time that the volunteers spend building relationships with children and the efforts they made to continue with this, even during the COVID-19 pandemic. They did this through letter writing, phone calls, and more. When we think of the impact of the pandemic on this generation, these efforts surely made a difference. This year's awards celebrate the role of books in alleviation of poverty. Poverty robs people of many things, with one of the least discussed being time. Some must make critical choices each day in their lives and often have time for little else. What this year's winner does, I would say, is to address this deficit. The inequalities of time. The street library members donate their time and passion to provide an introduction to books. When we think of the power of the introduction, we can be excited. Excited by the opportunity to break the cycle of deprivation. Excited by the creative opportunities that emerge. Excited by what the gift of time and of learning can provide. The Asahi Shimbun, my newspaper, was founded in 1879 and has been a supporter of IBBY activities since 1986. We are, I hope, part of the culture of learning and reading in Japan. We have been involved in this award for almost 40 years because we want to spread opportunities internationally and allow more children to encounter books and discover the joy of reading. It is an honor to present the award again this year to such a wonderful initiative. We would like to pay tribute to all the works that IBBY has done so far to promote reading among children, and we at the Asahi Shimbun hope to continue to contribute to this. Thank you so much.
I just came to the realization that I have been involved with IBBY as long as Asahi has, because 1986 was my first IBBY too. In the spirit of shared decision-making and shared responsibilities, I'm joined by committee members who will each take a role in the announcements and the roundtable introductions. Now I introduce to you Tina Bilban from IBBY Slovenia, who will give the laudations for the IBBY-Asahi Reading Promotion Award.
Good evening. For almost 40 years, amazing promoters of reading have been awarded the IBBY-Asahi Reading Promotion Award. I would like to once again extend my sincere thanks to the Asahi Shimbun newspaper for their generous sponsorship. Biennially, a jury selects a group or institution that, through their outstanding activities, makes a lasting contribution to book promotion programs for children and young people. This year, under the leadership of the jury chair, Junko Yokota, the jury carefully considered 13 projects. We have decided that among all the amazing projects, the one that particularly stood out for its originality, innovation, impact on the target audience, and replicability is ATD, All Together in Dignity, 4 Wall Street Libraries nominated by IBBY France. Established in 1968, this project grew out of the conviction that the most effective way to help children break out of the cycle of poverty is to nurture their desire to learn and assist in the development of their creativity. Today, over 60 ATD street libraries can be found throughout France, most of them located in priority neighborhoods. Books, stories, music, and artistic activities makes these street libraries places where discovery and creativity blossom into lifelong learning skills for children and families living in under-resourced communities. The format is simple: colorful blankets spread on the ground, communal story time, and activities that promote discovery, highlight skills, and encourage creative expression. However, behind this simplicity lies a rigorous methodology. Street library volunteers from outside the community arrive at the same time every week, consistently and reliably. They invite all children to participate, with a special focus on those facing the greatest challenges. They seek and rely on input and support from parents and other community members, preparing achievable activities with high-quality materials. A diverse group of people from various backgrounds devote time, at least once a week, to share ideas and their passion for books at these street libraries. The regularity of their presence helps to build trust with the families living in these low-income communities who are often grappling with persistent poverty. This consistency also enables volunteers to understand the children's hunger for education and learning, as well as the courage and determination of their parents. The jury was particularly impressed with the project's replicability, given its minimal requirements and the potential for communities to get involved through training offered via digital platforms. Simple in format, yet complex in the well-thought-out elements that make it effective, the project exemplifies how vital it is to bring books and children together. Congratulations, and thank you for making the world a better place with projects like this.
Marie, before you give your acceptance speech, we'd first like to present you with this award. A beautiful laudation plaque and the gift of the Japanese envelope that has money in it in the amount of $10,000 US dollar equivalent. Congratulations.
I don't speak English, but I try. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very honored to be here to receive the IBBY-Asahi Prize for the promotion of reading on behalf of ATD Fourth World. This prestigious recognition is comforting and stimulating. It's also an opportunity for greater visibility, which is always welcome when it comes to developing our work. First, I would like to express my sincere thanks to those who have given us this award, the president of the jury and the selection committee, the Asahi Shimbun newspaper, the president of IBBY, and the head of IBBY France, all of whom, along with IBBY, are convinced that books are bridges between nations and more generally between human beings, are helping to build those bridges. I have been involved with ATD Fourth World since I was a high school student on a voluntary basis, and I am a passionate street library specialist. ATD Fourth World stands for All Together in Dignity. It's an NGO that fights against extreme poverty by defending access to all rights for all. I'll come back to this, but I'm going to start by telling you about street libraries. A street library is a time and a place where a team of ATD Fourth World volunteers meet children from an underprivileged neighborhood to read together outside, as close as possible to the children's homes. The system is simple. Every week, in the same place, at the same time, an ATD Fourth World team spreads a blanket on the ground outside, whatever the weather, and reads with the children aged 2, 3 to 10, 11 for 2 hours seated on the ground. Quite simply. The team can also propose other activities that encourage discovery, highlight skills, and encourage creative expression. All the children in a neighborhood are invited with special attention paid to those who are more isolated or in difficulty. If they come, it means we are not forgetting anyone. It's an opportunity to get to know the children and their families. The street libraries were born on a conviction. Culture is a powerful vector in the fight against exclusion. Despite compulsory schooling, illiteracy now affects 9% the French population and remains statistically linked to extreme poverty. The vicious circle of poverty, said the founder of ATD Fourth World, is first and foremost that of the inability to express oneself and engage in the normal exchanges with others, of the impossibility for children to benefit from an education designed for an environment and according to conditions of existence that are not their own. Of course, access to reading has evolved. Municipal libraries have multiplied, and cultural mediation professionals are reaching out to children and their parents. But local provision is still far from universal, and the poor are still largely untouched. In some circles, books are not an everyday object and can be a source of apprehension for children who have had a difficult school career. In a friendly, caring atmosphere, street libraries reconcile children with the joy of reading and encourage them to reveal and share their talents. Street libraries are also a place for encounters between children and books, but also between children who meet on the cover, sometimes from clashing communities. It's a place of peace between parents and children who sometimes discover their children's desire to learn, as well as their creativity, between animators from elsewhere and local residents, often who are afraid of each other. Meeting the inhabitants of a very poor neighborhood inevitably changes the way we look at them, and most of the time breaks down prejudices. Between adults in the neighborhood to break out to their isolation and to join sometimes other collective actions proposed by the movement. The street library also helps build relationships with schools, libraries, art schools, other associations, local authorities, etc. Knowledge and art festivals are organized during the summer in the street libraries locations and in other neighborhoods. Festivals include several days of activities based on the skills of local residents. They are an opportunity to reveal the talents of parents, or partnerships with artists, craftspeople, sportsmen and women, etc. The street libraries are also useful for building knowledge of the movement. Notes are taken after each session and sent to the movement as for each ATD Fourth World field activity. They enable us to keep track of what the children say about their day-to-day lives over time. Difficulties, skills, joys, positive or negative developments. This provides a detailed picture of the reality of poverty, which can be reported to political circles or analyzed by scientists to improve action. This aspect of street libraries, which concerns knowledge of the very poor, allows me to make a link with the presentation of ATD Forward movement. From the outset, the ATD Forward organization strives to promote access to knowledge for people living in poverty. But we also want to take into account what they say about poverty and their knowledge. The people in poverty are the most crucial informers. Now I present ATD. ATD Forward is an international non-governmental movement with no religious or political affiliations, now present in over 30 countries. It was founded in 1957 by Joseph Wrezinski, who was a priest and who himself was marked by this childhood in poverty. In 1957, at the age of 40, he joined a shanty town of 252 families in Noisy-le-Grand, near Paris, and decided to fight alongside them. Very quickly, so that the camp's inhabitants would no longer be dependent on the goodwills of others, he opposed the soup kitchen. Together with the family, he set up a kindergarten and a library, then workshops for young people and adults, a laundry, a beauty salon, and the ATD Forward Association was born. Its aim to eradicate poverty and exclusion and ensure that the dignity of all people is recognized. To truly eradicate poverty and exclusion, every person must have access to fundamental rights. Right to health, work, housing, schooling, culture, holidays, and so on. This is the exact opposite of assistance. People who have been poor since childhood internalize that they are useless, that they have nothing to contribute to others. It takes time to break out of this double bind. We want to break the vicious circle of persistent poverty, both in the family and in the community. The organization brings together the militants, activists, people living in poverty who are committed to the movement, the volontaires permanents who are employees by ATD, and allies who are volunteer. I am a volunteer. It was in 1968 that the street libraries were first developed in France and then throughout the world, inspired by the one created in Noisy-le-Grand. At ATD Forward, we are convinced that in order to act more effectively, poverty had to be understood and known. And in order to do so, we needed the knowledge of those who live it. The organization developed a way of working they call merging of knowledge. And a few years ago, the international organization ATD Forward launched a research program to refine our understanding and measurement of poverty, and to build new indicators and tools for anti-poverty policies. I invite you to discover a video.
Live in poverty. We know the numbers, but do we really know what poverty means? There are many misconceptions about poverty in our world today. These misconceptions are so common because almost everything we see, hear or read about poverty comes from the media, from academics or from practitioners. We almost never hear from people who actually experience poverty in their daily lives. ATD Fourth World and Oxford University have been working together to research poverty and how to understand it. People with direct experience of poverty, academics and practitioners, collaborated to take a different approach to understanding poverty. Teams in Bangladesh, Bolivia, France, Tanzania, the United Kingdom and the United States worked together for 3 years to come up with a more comprehensive definition of poverty. A participatory approach was used to design the project, conduct the research and analyse the findings. So what did we learn? Poverty is much more than a lack of money. Poverty is multidimensional. Teams in all 6 countries identified 9 dimensions of poverty. People often define poverty as not having things. Poverty sometimes means that you have to accept a low-wage or unstable job and work in undignified or dangerous conditions. It can also mean that you don't have enough money to provide for your family to live with dignity. Poverty often means that you don't have the resources you need to participate fully in the economic, cultural and social life of your community. But the experience of poverty involves so much more than a lack of money. When you live in poverty, you can't control many aspects of your own life because you often depend on others, including social welfare institutions. Your life is shorter because of difficult living conditions and little or no health care. You suffer physically, psychologically, and emotionally. For people in poverty, life is a daily struggle just to get by. Many people survive by helping each other and finding creative solutions to their own problems. Poverty is something that society creates, knowingly or unknowingly, through our daily actions and the way our institutions, companies and social services operate. National and international institutions often have trouble helping people living in poverty effectively. They sometimes create policies and projects that do not reach everyone. Sometimes they humiliate people or even make their situation worse. Experiencing poverty also means that other people label you as poor and see you in a negative light. They don't treat you like a human being and just see you as a problem. People in poverty have many skills. They participate in the social and economic lives of their families and communities. Yet other people often overlook these contributions or do not value them. Poverty gets worse. When people have no choice but to live in destitute areas, damaged by pollution and particularly vulnerable to extreme weather conditions, when people experience discrimination and prejudice due to their gender, ethnic or racial background, sexual orientation or status as migrants, when some cultural beliefs and traditions create obstacles or promote discrimination, when people experience poverty for years, and when their life is impacted by many aspects of poverty at the same time. People in poverty have to struggle every day not only to live decently, but also to resist and overcome poverty. If poverty is something we make together as a society, it is something we can unmake too. ATD Fourth World is a worldwide movement of people working together to change the way poverty is perceived so that we can finally put an end to it. But to do this, we must first learn from the people who struggle with poverty every day. Visit www.atd/fourthworld.org to read the research report and share your ideas. Join the conversation now and get involved in the movement to end poverty.
This research work carried out by ATD Fourth World make it possible to make known and recognize the hidden dimensions of poverty in order to better understand it and better combat it. To lead the fight against poverty, ATD Fourth World relies on the 3 complementary modes of action, acting in the field with people living in poverty, to unite around the same struggle and obtain the application of the law, to working with institutions to change laws and practices by involving people living in poverty. 3, lobby public opinion to change the way the poorest people are viewed and call on society to commit to the fight against poverty. Street libraries, part and parcel of local initiatives to promote culture and access to reading, but it's not about success, education or individual progress. It's beauty, emotion, sharing and exchange that are the driving forces behind change. What Joseph Brzezinski, founder of ITD, said when he asked, "How can we give life back its intensity if not by living poetry with others?" Thank you.